Hello, and welcome to Azir School Week 5. This week, we will be going over items, what items are good, bad, mediocre, when to build them, and when not to build them, and more. Without further ado, let's drift right into the starting items. In terms of starting items, there are only two real choices, Crystalline Flask and Doran's Ring. There are some advantages to starting Flask in certain matchups such as increased sustain against poke champions and the ability to use more mana against champions you need to push to tower. But I have found that starting Doran's is always the best way to go as it gives you more flexibility. The extra AP giving you the ability to go aggressive against matchups you are confident in. Immediate HP instead of regen to keep yourself alive during all-ins or jungle ganks, and more damage for poking in lane. In the end, I recommend Doran's over Flask, but if you are more comfortable with Flask, you can manage with either. Next, we'll go over each item step by step and determine whether they are good or not. Number 1 is Rod of Ages. Rod of Ages pales in comparison to other core items. Its scaling nature makes your power spike come very late, even though it only gives you as much AP as a Morello's when fully stacked. It costs 2,800 gold compared to Morello's 2,300, meaning you won't even be getting this item to start stacking until after you would have already had a massive power spike with Morello's AP and CDR. Though the catalyst is nice during laning phase, and the mana is always good, you don't need the HP that it gives you due to the fact that you will be in the back and protected away from fights. And if you do go in with wall, you would have Zhonyas earlier with other builds. So, the HP again becomes irrelevant. Rod of Ages ends with a final item score of -3. Number 2 is Athene's. Athene's is the only good item if you're against 3 AP champions on the enemy team, or are facing a bursty AP mid like LeBlanc. Even though I still prefer the early power spike of Morello's, as even if you don't have the full item, you can still reach 20% CDR. With Athene's, your spike can only come after the entire item is completed, which will be a lot later than Morello's because of the high cost on Chalice compared to Forbidden Idol. On the positive side, this item gives great mana regen with its passives, and it also gives 20% CDR, which is required in most Azir builds. Athene's score is 1. Finally, for your first item you can always go Morello's. Morello's is by far the best starting mana item in the game for Azir. It gives good mana regen, great AP, and an amazing early CDR spike, and it's very cheap in its parts. By going Morello's, you enable yourself to spike very early, and having just both pieces of the item allows you to all in with drift very easily, as you can WQ and then wait for Q to come back again before drifting for an all in. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a comment, a like, and subscribe if you want more. Make sure to tell us your thoughts on starting items for Azir, and I'll see you guys next week.